Hello, 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 everybody. This is Professor West, and welcome back. This week, I'm going to be talking about flowcharts and pseudocode. Flowcharts and pseudocode are extremely important in the programming world. These allow us to plan a program ahead of time. So it's sort of like how if you're going to build a giant building, you want a set of blueprints. And that way you can see, oh, there needs to be doors over here, there needs to be windows over there. A flowchart will give us the same kind of direction in a program. So I also like to use a roadmap example. Let's imagine you wanted to take a trip from Miami, Florida to San Francisco, California. And so you go look up a map, and here we go. We've got Miami all the way to San Francisco. We're going to go up through Georgia, through Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Nevada, all over the place. And let's say you decided, that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to go up through all those states. I want to go a little bit more direct route. So you bring it down and say, I'm just going to go through Dallas, and maybe I don't want to go through Tennessee. I want to bring it on down. I want a little bit more straighter path. And by doing so, maybe you cut a little time off your path. But this gives you the ability to determine how you want to drive. I don't know why that's way up there. Doesn't really matter. But you can look at this and say, okay, I'm going to start in Miami. I'm going to go through Orlando. I'm going to go through some of these other towns. There's Dallas, whatever. And this gives us a general idea of where you're going to be heading when you're driving across country. And then later, if you want, you can zoom in a little bit and say, oh, okay, when I go through this part, I'm going to go through right past Gainesville. I'm going to go through Lake City and Tallahassee and Pensacola, Florida. And, you can zoom in a little further, and you can be even more specific. You can say, okay, when I go through Pensacola, I'm going to go down Highway 10 through Avalon Beach. I keep going on Highway 10. This helps you to know anytime you get off track. So in your trip, if you ended up in, FlowMaten, or whatever that is, Perdido, I don't know how to say some of those. But if you ended up in one of those, then you'd know, hey, I'm off my route that I need to be on. And a flowchart will do the exact same thing for you in your computer program. It'll help you to know what route you need to take, and it'll help you to stay on track and keep the big picture in mind, even when you're having to focus in on the smaller details. So, there's a lot of websites that will help you create a flowchart. I have chosen to go to www.draw.io. This is a free website that lets you make flowcharts as many as you want. And I'm going to click on Create a New Diagram. And notice they're going to have a lot of different types. I want to create a flowchart. When I click on it, there's several different kinds that show up. These are pre-made. If I were to click on this one, for example, then my page would fill up looking just like this, and I would be able to take and move things around a little. But I want to start from scratch, so I'm going to click on the flowcharts again, and I'm going to click Create. And I invite you guys to do the same and follow along with me here. So, now I'm in the General tab. I don't want to be in the General tab. I want to come down here to the flowchart. And these are all the symbols that you can use on your flowchart. Now, this may look a little confusing, but don't worry about it. There are 4 main symbols that you're going to need to know. Only 4. And the first one is the start, and it's also called the start-stop, and it's also called the terminator. I don't know why on this particular one they have 2 different ones that are similar. One's called start, one's called terminator. But most places, that's the same. So when I click on it, it comes up over here. I can move it wherever I want. I could make it bigger. Let's say I want to make it a little wider. And I can do whatever I want. Now, let's say our program is going to check to see if 2 people are twins. Okay? So what would be the first thing we would need to do? The first thing we need to do is ask, hey, do you have the same parents? Because if they don't have the same mother and father, then there's no possible way in the world that they're twins. So, to do so, I'm going to need a box. They're calling it a data box on here. Typically, it's called an input-output box. And this is the representation of data coming in or going out of your program. It starts off as basically a square that's leaning to the right, although as I'm showing you here, you can make it a lot bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a text box that says same parents ? Because that's the question that I need to know. So when I'm writing my program, when I get here, I know that I need to ask them, do you have the same parents? And I need a variable that's going to accept the answer. The very next thing that we need to do is based on whatever answer we get here. So we need to have a decision. A decision is just like an if statement. It's going to have one or more outcomes determined based on the answer that you got here. So, in this case, there's two possible choices. Either you have the same parents or you don't have the same parents. Two people. If they don't have the same parents, then they cannot be twins. So, I need another box. And I'm going to choose the fourth kind. This is called a process box for now. And I'm just going to say, actually, I don't want a process box. That's the fourth kind, though, that you need to know. Right now, I'm going to have another input box. I'm sorry. And it's been a while since I've written this program. But if they have the same parents, then we have to take the next step. If they have the same parents and they don't have the same birthday, for example, then they can't be twins. So the next thing we're going to check is same birthday ? Now, this only happens if this was true. So, if they did have the same parents. So here's what we need to do now. I haven't shown you the actual flow of the program yet. But if I click on this little blue arrow here, it's going to automatically draw a connector for me. Now I can come down to this one, and I can do the same thing. It's automatically drawing a connector for me. Now I'm going to come down to this one, and I'm going to do the same thing. And you can barely see that part of the arrow, but that's okay. I could even move this down a little if I needed to, so you can see it. Notice when I did, it still tried to stay connected. Now, I'm going to put another text box here, and I'm going to say yes. Because this is only going to happen, I'm going to use the arrow keys to move it a little bit at a time. If, and you can just use the Y if you want, you don't have to write the word yes. If this decision, if they have the same parents, which I need to put a question mark, same parents. Notice I already did that in the let me get off of that. Let me go back in because I want to make it a little easier to read. Now, I've already asked if they have the same parents up here, and I accepted the answer. Now I'm just making a decision based on that, whether they have the same parents. If it's yes, then I'm going to come down and ask if they have the same birthday. If it's no, then I'm going to ask if they have the same mother or the same father. Same mother or father. Why would I want to do that? Because I'm trying to find out if they're twins, but I'm also trying to find out if they're siblings at all. If they have at least one of the same parents, then they could still be brother or sister. And when I point right here in the middle, somewhere, there's my little blue arrow that connects that. And this is my no. So, if they do not have the same parents, both, then maybe they have the same mother or father. If they do have the same parents, and they have the same birthday, now that means I need another decision, right? To see if they have the same birthday. And where's my decision box? There we are. I'm going to line it up with my previous one. And I'm going to say same B-Day. And I'm going to put that right here in my decision. If they have the same parents, both, and they have the same birthday, then they're twins. So let's see. Let's go ahead and put... Now I'm going to use a process box. Okay. Actually, I'm not going to use a process box yet. Process boxes are... they're boxes that are going to do something. So we'll get to one of those in just a minute. So for now, I'm going to have another input and output box. Because now I need to see if they're the same sex. Now, we already know they're twins because they have both the same parents and the same birthday. So now if they're the same sex, then they could be identical twins. If they're not the same sex, then they can only be fraternal twins. So let's go ahead and make my connection to show the flow. And I could put another box here. And let's see, I also want to list. Yes. Here. And no. And why not? Because let's put another box here. If they're not, if they have the same parents, but they do not have the same birthday, then they can be siblings, but they cannot be twins. So I'm going to output. Oops. Siblings, but not twins. That means they could be brother and brother, brother and sister and sister, or, you know, if other genders are in play, you know, whatever floats your boat. This is a programming example. And so if they're the same sex, and they have the same birthday, and they have the same parents, then they are likely to be identical twins. And I would put another box down here that would say so. Now, I keep wanting to put a process box on here, and I keep realizing that it's not time yet. So, let's say we're going to pay them allowances, why not, based on how close they are to being twins. So, let's say they get $20 for every year old they are if they're siblings but not twins. Okay, I would use a process box for that. And I would say, let's put in a text box, and I would say right there, you know, $20 per year. And let's say these kids are, I don't know, 15 years old. So, times 15 years. And this is what a process box does. A process box does like a calculation or does, you know, something. And there's a lot of different things it can do. But for the purposes of this example, we really didn't need a process box, so I'm just trying to throw one in. But if these were employees and I was calculating their pay, I could do, you know, pay, you know, hourly wages times however many hours they worked, minus taxes, minus Social Security and all that stuff. All would be done in a process box. And I'm not going to finish this flowchart because that would just waste time. But you get the basics of it. And when I get down to the very end, I would have another terminator box that would finish, that would end it. End program. So, that's all there is to this, guys. I know this can look a little complicated sometimes, but you just have to work with it. And the whole point is, as I said, let me zoom in a little bit so I just have this thing about me. I like to finish stuff. I don't like to leave it partway done, even though I'm trying to save some time. So, anyway, the whole point is when I'm writing my program, and I see, I'm working on the birthdays and stuff. Well, now I see here where I need to go next. I need to move into whether or not they're the same sex, if they have the same birthday. And, I need to move into, oh, they're not, so I need to move this way. And, it helps you as a programmer. And the larger your programs get, the more intense your flowcharts will become. I've seen flowcharts that were as thick as a book. And they can become very complex, very, very, very difficult. But that's because the program would be so complex and difficult. And this actually, seeing it can help your mind to understand where you need to go. Oh, I didn't need to do anything else after I found out they didn't have the same mother and father for this program. I just could stop. So I don't have to keep going, which you might try to do if you weren't, being kept on track. So, the other thing I want to show you real quick is pseudocode. What is pseudocode, you might ask? Pseudocode, very simply put, is English, or whatever language you speak. If you speak Spanish, your pseudocode would be in Spanish. Pseudocode is nothing more than your written instructions in English, or whatever language, that help determine the program. So, let's go back to the twins program. I would have something similar to start program, and maybe main, whatever, if this was a main function. And then I could say obtain same parent, and that would let me know that I need to ask if they have the same parent, and then I need to accept it. And you know what? I could even be more specific. Let's do that. Let's say ask if same parent, and accept as same parent. And now, if I were writing this for me, I would know just by the way I wrote it here that that would be my variable name, would be same parent. So when I'm writing my code and I say, output, please enter if they have the same parent, or do you have the same parent? And then I would have an input statement that would accept it and store it as the variable same parent. Then I would say if same parent equals yes, then I need to do something. What else would I need to do? Well, the next thing I would need to do would be ask if, actually I would probably start off and say ask if both parents are the same. And if same parents, yes, then ask if birthday is the same. And I would say accept as b-day same, or something along those lines. And then if it is the same, if b-day same, then what's the next thing you do? Oh yeah, ask if they're ask if gender is the same, except as same gender. And then I don't know, if same gender equals yes, then output, congratulations, you are probably identical twins. I don't know, something along those lines. And this would be my pseudocode. And of course, you can come in and change it up. I didn't have to put equals yes, but I chose to. And I could even have if the birthday is the same, do this stuff. And I could have said else let's see, output, you're not twins, but you're siblings, something like that. Oh, actually, if the B date is the same, so I guess this line would actually go up further. Let me cut that. That would actually go under if you had the same parents. And another thing you can do, a lot of times people do this, like with the if statements here, I would hit enter a few times to move it over to make it a little easier to read. I'm doing them 4 times here. But that helps you to see, that these 2 things go with this if statement. And then if I wanted to have my else here, I could have said else output twins but not identical. And see how I was just kind of spitballing here and doing it. Well, now as I go through my program, I can start and I know exactly where I want to go, and I can focus on the code rather than focus on the path. This lets me think about what I want done in English, and then I can go in and I can start writing the code, and I've got this here as a guide. So that'll help me to keep on track. So anyway, guys, flowcharts and pseudocode are 2 of the very, very, very popular ways that we have as programmers to write our code and to help us keep track of where we're at and what's going on. And as you can see, both have their uses. This one's a little more graphical. This one's a little more linear. But it's one of those things that you just got to practice with. And there's not a right or wrong. I put except same as same parent here. I could have put input same parent. I could have put accept the input as same parent. I could have done anything I wanted. This is all just as long as I understand there's not specific words that your boss isn't going to go, oh my gosh, you put accept. You can't put accept. That's not going to happen. So this is just for your planning anyway. So that's about it, guys. That's all there is really to flowcharts and pseudocode. And as I said, they'll get more complex as you go, but that's just something that, everything does. Everything gets more complex as you go. So enjoy it and play around with it and have some fun. And there's a lot of other symbols over here. I didn't go into them, but you can point at it and see what a lot of them are. Preparation, stored data, sequential data, and you can look up what each of these mean if you want, if you decide you want to use those in your programs. Some people do, some people don't. But again, it's all up to you as the programmer to do what works best for you. So with that, I will stop talking now. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next section.